On this episode of China Uncensored, they're calling the Dalai Lama what? Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. You know, I've been called a lot of things during my time as the host of China Uncensored. An undercover CIA agent, a gray space alien. But that pales in comparison to what the Dalai Lama has to deal with. The exiled spiritual leader of Tibet has been called an ingrate, profaning, Nazi-loving Muslim dictator. Oh, sorry. Apparently that was an understatement. Make that the worst dictator in the world today. But hey, you know who respects the history and tradition of Tibetan Buddhism? The officially atheist Chinese Communist Party. If it were up to this guy, there wouldn't even be a Dalai Lama anymore. Let me explain. The Dalai Lama will be 80 in July. People, including the Dalai Lama, are beginning to talk about what will happen when he dies. In Tibetan Buddhism, when that happens, the Dalai Lama reincarnates as a young child who becomes the new Dalai Lama. The current Dalai Lama is the 14th one. So, who will the next Dalai Lama be? That's a pretty big deal for the future of Tibet. The Dalai Lama has tremendous influence in Tibet. And gosh darn it, if the new Dalai Lama supported the Communist Party, wouldn't that just be grand? At least that's what Beijing thinks. But there's no way the next Dalai Lama would support a regime that in a few decades reduced the number of Tibetan monasteries from over 6,000 to 8, and has killed at least 400,000 Tibetans, and that's the conservative number. The current Dalai Lama says it's 1.2 million. Well, the Chinese regime might have a way to get what they want. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's not just the Dalai Lama who reincarnates. The Panchen Lama, another senior figure in the religion, also goes through the same reincarnation process. When the previous one died, the Dalai Lama appointed a boy in Tibet as the new Panchen Lama. That was in 1995. Shortly after, the boy and his entire family disappeared, and no one's heard from them since. The Chinese government, however, installed their own Panchen Lama, and guess what his opinion is on Tibetan-Chinese relations? When the Dalai Lama dies, it's a good bet there'll be a state-sanctioned Dalai Lama. Except the current Dalai Lama has once again been a thorn in Beijing's side, saying that he doesn't have to reincarnate at all, and the position of Dalai Lama can cease to exist. Obviously concerned about the future of Tibetan Buddhism, the current governor of Tibet criticized the Dalai Lama, saying that he cannot dictate whether or not he reincarnates, because remember, the Chinese Communist Party has the right to dictate reincarnation, according to a law they made up in 2007. I'm dead serious about that. Clearly, the Dalai Lama is profaning religion and Tibetan Buddhism. Just a brief note here that the guy saying all this stuff, the governor of Tibet, was appointed by the Communist Party, used to teach Marxist theory, and reports directly to the Communist Party chief of Tibet, Chen Quanguo. But it doesn't stop with the Chinese regime. There is a branch of Tibetan Buddhism, a particularly vocal, virulent group that gets funding from an unknown source that also takes issue with the Dalai Lama, in the sense that they call him the worst dictator in this modern day, who is destroying pure Buddhism, has a fascination with war and Nazism, and is a Muslim because he's never said he was a Buddhist and never denied being a Muslim. The controversy between this group of Tibetan Buddhists and the Dalai Lama centers over whether or not Dorje Shugden, a protector deity of sorts, should be worshipped. The Dalai Lama says no. They say, yes, you Nazi-loving Muslim. Now, it's really hard to know what's going on with this group inside Tibet because, well, the Chinese regime isn't exactly letting independent foreign researchers into Tibet. It's also unclear where the funding to hold all of their protests slandering the Dalai Lama is coming from. But it just does sound like something the Communist Party must enjoy. The greater the division in Tibet, the less likely they can unify behind a single spiritual leader, and that's in Beijing's interest. Robbie Barnett, director of the Modern Tibet Studies at Columbia, told Foreign Policy that the regime has been encouraging worship of Dorje Shugden. Clearly, The only ones truly benefiting from this is the Chinese regime. So what's in store for Tibet's future? And will there be another Dalai Lama? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, hit that like and subscribe button and check out the Facebook and Twitter page for more. You can also go to ChinaUncensored.org to sign up for the weekly China Uncensored newsletter. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.